Alright, so to solve this equation, one method, since we have something to the second power here, we can get it all by itself and then square root both sides. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. And then now that we have that isolated, we can square root both sides. And remember, when we put in a square root into a problem, we have to put plus or minus. Square root of 49 is 7. And now we're going to add 5. So our two answers are positive 7 plus 5, so 12, and then negative 7 plus 5, which is negative 2. So our solutions are 12 and negative 2. Okay, so another way to solve this equation is by simplifying it so it's a trinomial, like here. So you do all the work that you learned in the chapter before this. So you would need to do y minus 5 times y minus 5, which you do that work and you'll end up with this. And then you're going to combine the like terms, so you'll combine the y's, and then you're going to combine the 25 and the negative 2. And then the last thing you have to do is it has to equal 0, so you're going to subtract 47 of both sides. Okay, so then we have this equation, and if we want to solve by factoring, we would need to think of what multiplies to 24, negative 24, and adds or subtracts to negative 10. So negative 12 times 2 and negative 12 plus 2 would work. So that's what we put into our factored form here. And then we set each factor equal to 0, and that's how we get our positive 12 and our negative 2 using factoring. Okay, so the other method we could also use to solve the same problem is the quadratic formula. It has to equal 0, and then we would plug in our values into the quadratic formula. We would simplify it. So from here we get this. And then once we have our three numbers, we would ask ourselves what times itself is 196, and the square root of 196 is 14. So now let's keep going from there. 10 plus or minus 14 all over 2 could also be rewritten as 10 plus 14 over 2 and 10 minus 14 over 2. That's what that plus or minus means there. So then we would get 24 divided by 2, which is 12. So that's one answer. And we would get 10 minus 14, which is negative 4, divided by 2 is negative 2. So we get those same two answers a third way.